Hey guys, Luke here. Just a heads up before you watch this video, the audio is a little bit whack. Essentially, I went to go record and my camera wasn't working, therefore I had to use the webcam, and I had everything plugged in. I set for the right audio, which was my blue ice snowball, whatever the hell it's called, and it recorded with the webcam. So apologies for the webcam footage, and also apologies for the audio footage. Now hopefully you can still enjoy the video, so here it is. Hey guys, Luke here. The 2020 NRL season is just about to get underway. In fact, well, it's not actually the NRL season just getting underway. It's restarting. That's probably the better way to phrase it, considering the season has already started. And because the season's already started, start of the season, I did some predictions. I did some ladder predictions. I sort of talked about what I thought was going to happen in the season. Now, obviously, the first two games have happened. Now, when you do videos at the start or you do your predictions, I'm sure everyone's done their predictions. You're sort of just going off last year's form or how you think some players might play. Whereas right now, we've seen how some players have played. Obviously, there's been quite a bit of a break in between. Some injuries have happened and that sort of stuff. Actually, even been some players move clubs in the meantime. Josh Morris, Harry Grant, Momorowski have done the swap. There's been a few new signings in that. So I thought it'd be interesting to go through and take a look at my predictions before the season had started and sort of see what are my thoughts on it now. And tomorrow I'll be giving my predictions for the current season, the restarted season. So yeah, let's take a look at the previous one. Rightio, so the video is loaded up. Let's play the video. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
First up, we're going to go with the minor premiers. Now, last year, I think it was
minor premiers
pretty
first
easy to
up.
predict that one. I think the Roosters were a given. The team was so good. They won a premiership the year before.
Yep, the Roosters. When I do this video, I can kind of remember some of the predictions that I made. Some of them I don't remember at all, but I definitely remember picking the Roosters. Not sure how I feel about that now, considering how they've started.
Gone as well. It's not so much of a given this year, and you look at the rest of the side.
Definitely not a given this year. Anyone.
Even there's no one who's really standing out. There's a lot of teams who do look pretty good, but I mean we've got to wait and see how they play. Or
yep, a lot of teams looking really good. Yeah.
Or not. Teams like the Eels and the Cowboys, Knights. They're teams that do have potential.
Cowboys lost to the Broncos, but apart from that, all the others are undefeated. So not wrong there.
Well. Yeah, I don't really know who to go for minor premiers, but I think I'm just going to go with the Roosters. I think they're the safe bet.
I suppose before the season started, they were the safe bet. I'll give me a pass on that one.
Strong and experienced side.
I reckon too, though. Not great.
I do think Kyle Flanagan will be able to handle it, and Luke Keary is definitely capable of stepping up to the plate and controlling that side. He's done it in the past. I'm sure he'll do it again. But yeah, I really don't know. I've just gone with the Roosters just because I really don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think I'm wrong with I said the Roosters. I think before the season started, a lot of people would have said it. They obviously lost Cronk and Latrell Mitchell. They haven't started the season well. Manly were quite good. I can't remember Rabbitohs. I can't remember who they played as well. I know they've lost the first two games though. Might have been Panthers actually. So they come up against two pretty strong teams. Start off hasn't been fantastic for them, but them as minor premiers are not a terrible prediction. In fact, I still don't really know who I would say would be the minor premiers this year.
And then for the premiers, I have gone with the Roosters as well.
Don't know about that one. 2 in a row, looking for the three-peat. I suppose at the time I thought they were going to come out, hit the ground running, and we might see them get a three-peat. I mean, we still might. Kyle Flanagan definitely has to improve. In fact, the rest of the Rooster team has to improve just in terms of controlling the team. However, Josh Morris I think would be a great addition for them, but let's see what else I said.
I seem to pick Roosters every year, and they seem to win every year. So, yeah, the Roosters, what can you say? They're a great team. And like I said before, there's a few teams I could see knocking them off.
And there was the audio is a bit of a problem for me. You might see it a few times in this video. It swaps and changes for me.
Off like the Rabbitohs, Eels, those sort of teams, but you just have to wait and see how they go. Every year I feel like a team like the Eels, we look at them and we say, yep, they're going to be good, and then come middle point of the season, you go, yeah, maybe not so much. So
that was sort of directed at the Eels, and in previous years, maybe a team like the Panthers is probably a good example. Every year they get talked up, and by the middle part of the season, they're not doing that great. Broncos is another one. That's why I find this year so hard, because we've seen a few good games at the start of the season, and now we're like, well, are the Broncos going to play at that for the rest of the season, or is that just going to be a bit of a phase? Are they going to fade out at the end of the season? Who really knows? Because if Broncos play like they did in the first few games, definitely premiership contenders, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how they go once it restarts.
So, I don't know. The Roosters, I feel like they're probably going to be the most consistent team, and I think in the end, they'll get the grand final. But
been very consistent in the sense that they've been losing a lot. Anyway, let's continue. I'm going to stop stopping it right now.
Get the premiership, I should say. But then, I mean, the Raiders were very, very close to getting it last year. Could they do it this year? Possibly, but yeah, I've just gone with the Roosters.
Yeah. Once again, Roosters premiers, minor premiers. I don't know if they'll do the double there or do the three-peat in terms of the premiership, but it's not a bad one. I mean, they are a team who I still think could be up there at the end of the year. Although they've started 0-2, definitely can't rule out the Roosters. So I'll give myself a pass in that one, but let's see how my other predictions have gone.
So Dally M, there's a few players I tossed up. Guys like Mitchell Moses, Jason Tamalalo and stuff. I thought they polled pretty well, but I've gone with Cameron Smith. I do think the Storm will have a pretty decent season. I think they'll make the 8. I've seen a lot of people predicting them to get the minor premiership and stuff. Not sure about that. The side isn't exactly like super strong, however, it's not like a terrible side either. And I feel like Cameron Smith's really going to carry this side, especially with Brandon Smith being out. So he's going to be there.
Keep forgetting Brandon Smith's out. Just in terms of Cameron Smith being with Dally M, that's not who I would have thought I picked. Like I said, I haven't seen this video for a long time. I thought for sure I would have picked either Mitchell Moses or Kalen Ponga, but Cameron Smith, I suppose at the start of the season, not a bad choice. I mean, I suppose we didn't really foresee Origin sort of being put at the end of the season, so I'm guessing it's sort of coming back to me that I think I say that I picked him because of Origin, like him not playing and the Storm doing reasonably well, but let's see what I actually said.
He's going to be playing hooker. You know, he's just going to be controlling the game as he does. And he's not missing any games during Origin.
There we go.
I feel like it's a
straight on the money with Origin.
And getting the Dally M.
Obviously,
well.
Origin
so
happening end of the season now, so not really going to be a factor in terms of Dally M.
But I mean, it's his last season.
Also, it would kind of be a fairy tale story for him. Media loves this shit. If he was going to get the Dally M, they would love it for the last season. So if he announced his retirement, put your money on Cameron Smith, I reckon.
Now moving on to the top try scorer. Now this time I originally had Kemba Marlowe as my pick.
It's a pretty good pick.
Thought, you know,
pretty good pick.
Lots of tries, and then I was sort of looking at it and going, Warriors. I don't know how many tries.
Yeah, plays the Warriors though. Maybe not.
If he goes down injured, I don't know.
Especially now considering what's happened with them. Playing every away game. So
I mean, they've got a
I'm not sure about the Warriors.
But
not sure about Marlowe too.
I just looked at Sevo. I saw how many tries he scored last year. It wasn't even.
Really not sure about Sevo. Really not sure about Sevo. I picked him here. Look, I would probably stick with that. I'd say that's still a decent one. It's only a few games in. Tony Staggs is on 4 tries. He's leading at the moment. I don't think Sevo scored a try at all. So he's already got to make some ground up on Tony Staggs and a few others. But I mean, if Sevo, all it takes is a couple of games and he's got a couple of hat-tricks in him, I reckon, this season. And I think the Eels are going to score a lot of tries. That's probably why I picked it. I'm just going to let the footage play.
The only sort of question mark I have hanging over Sevo is more so the off-field stuff that's happening with him. Just in terms of, you know, if anything happens with him where he can't play or if an injury happens or something. But
okay, injuries definitely can happen. I think the off-field stuff, I don't know if he's cleared, but I can't see it really happening. It happened in Fiji, I think. So I mean, if with how the world is now, I think he's safe for this season at least. So yeah, I think that should be okay.
As long as Sevo plays at least half decent, I think he'll get top try scorer.
Well, he hasn't scored any tries, so by that logic, I guess he hasn't played half decent. Although I say the Eels have been, while they were quite good against the Titans, in the game against the Bulldogs, very, very lucky to win. It took a lucky Reid Marnie deflection try. So yeah, the wingers haven't really been doing a great deal, in particular Sevo. So they definitely need to improve in that aspect. But yeah, Sevo definitely can win the top try scorer. Would I pick him right now? Probably not, but hey, it's not a bad choice.
Now moving on to top point scorer. It's a bit of a surprise when this guy doesn't get it. Now I think last year I picked Isako, but he didn't end up playing much first grade.
Funny enough, Sarko's back to playing. He's playing really well. I should have picked him this year.
But this one, I think I'm pretty confident with this one. I'm going to go with Jared Croker.
Jared Croker. When they were saying, "Oh, is a sure thing" or whatever, I wasn't sure about that. Yeah, I don't think I was going to say Jared Croker, but
just re-signed with Canberra. I'm pretty sure he'll be playing quite a bit of first grade for the Raiders, as long as he's not injured. That is, he's not going to get picked for Origin, that's for sure.
Not that that matters anymore, but hey, we'll continue on.
So he's going to be there. He does all the goal kicking, scores quite a number of tries, and maybe they're going to go out to him a little bit more as well. That Leilua's not there anymore. Rapana's not there.
Rapana is there now. That was one of the signings I was talking about. Rapana definitely there now. So yeah, maybe they'll still go to that side. I don't even know. Is Rapana going to play on Curtis Scott's side? I'm assuming so. Maybe
he's going to see a little bit more ball. Who knows? But Jared Croker, fantastic player. Probably unlucky to not get an Origin jersey at this point, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, top point scorer, that's what we go with, Jared Croker.
Okay, so I said I think it was a sure thing. definitely not a sure thing, especially considering I think Kalen Ponga is leading at the moment. Kalen Ponga is playing in a pretty good night side, scoring a lot of tries. Mitchell Moses up there, scores a few tries, kicks all the goals. Obviously, Croker, I was banking on also the Origin sort of thing. That's where guys like Ponga and stuff sort of come undone, whereas Jared Croker, he was going to be playing, and that was sort of my thought process on Cameron Smith getting Dally M. Same goes to Jared Croker, get the top point scorer. Obviously, no Origin, so as long as some other players don't get injured, I could easily see, Asako getting it, Kalen Ponga, even Jared Croker. But yeah, I don't know about that one.
Now we're moving on to the team who I think is going to make the biggest rise in the ladder, rise in position compared to last year.
Jeez, I could not tell you who I picked.
The Cowboys / Newcastle Knights. It's hard to split.
Okay, so far so good. Cowboys looking pretty good. Knights looking very good. 2 from 2 for the Knights. Cowboys have got 50%. One lost one. Pretty tight loss against the Broncos, I think. Bit unlucky. Valentine Holmes fighting his feet, but not bad prediction so far. What have I got to say here, though?
I feel like the Cowboys definitely have a really, really good roster. I think a lot of it comes down to Valentine Holmes, whether he
definitely.
In a fullback. I think he will be. And then Newcastle, I feel like if they can play to their potential, they can definitely be a top 4 capable side. They've got a lot of good players, your Clemens, Pongers, Mitchell Pearce, and then if Brayley sort of plays pretty well, they just need to find them.
Well, Brayley has gone to shit. Would have been a great signing. I think he looked pretty decent for them. Also, he's gone down injured. I'm assuming missing the whole season. I think it was ACL. They've signed Andrew McCullough from the Broncos, so maybe kind of like a shitty version of Brayley at this point in his career. I suppose he's got experience. He can sort of do a bit of a job, and then Connor Watson, I suppose they're going to rely on him a lot to come off the bench. I'm assuming he'll come off the bench still, but yeah, Knights, I do think they'll do pretty well this year.
So for 5'8", if they can find themselves someone who's at least half decent, I think they'll be alright. They're in the top 8.
Definitely a problem for the Knights. 5'8".
Definitely a big improvement from previous season. And the Cowboys, I think last year was definitely underachieving. They should have done way better than what they did. Their roster, their forward pack is quite stacked. I mean, I made them on Robo.
Amazing forward pack. And if they play to their potential,
was just blitzing through everyone. So, I mean, yeah, on paper they do have a really, really good side, and it's even better this year. So I'm expecting them to play to their potential and probably get in the top 8. I mean,
I think they'll definitely get in the top 8. I suppose it's not going to help. I don't know if they're going to be playing at home. I think they're playing Suncorp, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're playing at Townsville, but I was expecting them to play in front of a big packed out new stadium that they've got. They obviously lost to the Broncos first round, but I was expecting them to make it kind of a fortress. Maybe not, because no crowd. So yeah, we'll see how they go.
Obviously, they're also a team who I can see, just going to shit and not playing well at all. But I mean, Drinkwater, I think he's been a great addition. Him in the half should be good, and then Valentine Holmes at fullback. Even Reece Robson is putting some pressure on Granville. So whether
good shout, Granville. I think he actually started off the season half decent.
There's going to be some pressure on him, and I think the hooker position they'll be okay, because previous seasons Granville's been pretty trash, to be honest.
I think Cowboys are best when they I think when they won the premiership. They had someone coming off the bench. I can't remember who it was, but Baptiste has done quite well for them. I think it was Coach Jason actually coming off, relieving Granville, whereas I haven't really had anyone to do that. The one thing that does concern me for the Cowboys is their backline is quite good. However, I still don't think they're sold on the halves combination, Morgan and Drinkwater. I've actually seen a few people saying Morgan should play in the centre. I think that's ridiculous. Clifford is pretty decent. I can see them swapping and shuffling around the 5'8" until they finally go with Drinkwater, I reckon. But I can see players being in and out. It just worries me, players like Ben Hampton and stuff on the wing, especially just in this day and age. Yes, they try hard, but yeah, I can just see it being a problem long term with this side.
And I think it has really hurt the Cowboys. And Michael Morgan's had no support from the spine. So, yeah, I'm thinking the Cowboys are going to have a pretty good season this year. Now, moving on to who I think is going to have the biggest fall, I'm going to go with the Cronulla Sharks. Now, last year, they were...
Okay, I just want to point out, I was going to do a video itself, but I thought I'd do this one. Speaking of biggest falls, Bronson Sherry has just tested positive to testosterone or something. Well, he's been suspended by the NRL or by ASADA. I'm not sure. ASADA, I guess, is doing the suspension. But he's been given a provisional suspension. I suppose he has to prove his innocence or something. But right when the season is about to start, that's not what you want. I think I'm going to talk about Josh Morris, Josh Dugan. They got a lot more problems in that centre position now.
Sort of pushing for a top 4 spot. They made the top 8 pretty comfortably, I'm pretty sure. This season, there's just so much turmoil. The whole talk about Josh Morris, he's finally been released, but he's going to play a few games. They've got a lot of injuries, a lot of player turnover as well in terms of like Paul Gallen's gone. I don't know. I just can't see it being a top year for the Sharks. I mean, I don't think they're going to be like wooden spoon or anything, but I can just see them having a major downfall compared to previous seasons. I mean, they've always been a team who's had the potential to, you know, maybe push for a top 4, maybe even a premiership. They've had a pretty good run over the years, and sort of got a lot of youngsters coming in now. Bronson Jerry's, Jesse.
No, not anymore. Jesse Ramian, a good signing for them. I suppose for them, they're going to be regretting letting go of Josh Morris. Maybe he would have stayed, maybe he wouldn't have if they had known this earlier. Say if this, apparently the test happened in November, if he'd been suspended immediately or whatever, maybe Josh Morris still would have kicked up a fuss and wanted to go to the Roosters, or maybe he would have been happy just playing first grade every week in the centre position and not getting shuffled around. But I mean, the centre, Josh Dugan, Jesse Ramian, it's just, yeah, it was just, they had too many players looking for that position. So in a sense, this does solve their centre issue, but it doesn't really help with the turmoil that I'm talking about. It just creates even more. And there's going to be a lot of media backlash, I can imagine, especially considering Cronulla's history. So maybe them for the biggest fall. It's not someone who I would have thought initially as being the biggest fall, but I actually think I might be on the money here. I might be on the money. I don't know if I would say that right now, but you know, considering everything that's happened recently, I think that's a pretty good prediction there.
Ramian's back. I mean, I think they're going to have a decent season, but yeah, just the whole Josh Dugan, Josh Morris, it just seems like a lot of turmoil at the club.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just the turmoil at the club, I think it's definitely going to affect them.
Now moving on to my biggest disappointment for the season. Now this is a little bit different to the biggest downfall. The Sharks, I feel like, are expected to fall.
Interesting.
Team, I don't think.
Don't at the start of the season when I said that.
That bad of a season. I'm going to go with the Penrith Panthers. They've got a new halves combo. James Maloney's gone. James Maloney usually only lasts a few seasons at the club. I think this might be the first time he's not made a grand final with the team, and I think the Panthers are probably one of the more talented sides he's played with, and he couldn't manage it with them. Jerome Luai steps in, or Burton, or whatever his name is.
Okay, Jerome Luai started the season. He started it pretty well. The Panthers as a whole started pretty well. Obviously, a little bit happened with them in terms of Nathan Cleary. I think he got a 2-game suspension, so in a shortened season, you don't really want star players like Nathan Cleary getting suspended, but yeah, I'm not sure about this one early on. Just listen to what else I got to say, but I really don't know about this one.
But Jerome Luai to start off the season anyways. Nathan Cleary definitely needs to step up, but they've got such a young side, but they're a side that gets talked up every year by the media. They get talked up so much, like Aikens at fullback. I don't really know much about him, yet you read in the papers and they'll tell you they're like a top 8 sure thing. So I don't know much about the Panthers side. A lot of them are quite unknown. I also do
I agree that they do have a lot of unknowns, like the Aikens. I don't know if Dylan Edwards will be back. I think I had people telling me in the comments that at the start of the season he was injured. Wouldn't be surprised if they go with that Aikens guy. But yeah, I kind of understand my logic here. I'll let me finish up here and I'll give a proper response to it. But yeah, I kind of understand where I'm going here.
While I've put them as the biggest disappointment, they also have the potential to be biggest surprise packet too, just because of so many unknowns. There's so many youngsters, and then you're adding guys like Billy Kickow and Nathan Cleary, and Coruscant's a good signing. Kate, well, they do.
Coruscant, fantastic signing. I think he will add a lot to the Panthers side. I think he has added a lot to the Panthers side. He did initially when he arrived. I think he's definitely a good signing. In hindsight, very disappointed the Bulldogs missed out on him. So yeah, Coruscant, great signing for Penrith.
Have some good players, but I feel like just for the expectations the Panthers are going to have, I don't think they'll match it or get anywhere close to it.
Okay, so I think my logic for that was more so, not that the Penrith Panthers are going to have a bad season, but just the fact that their expectations every year are always so high. The media loves them, media hypes them up, says they're going to be, premiership favourite. They're going to be pushing for a grand final spot, and then they never seem to get anywhere near it. So if they don't win a premiership or win a minor premiership or something, by default they're almost the disappointments of the season. So I kind of see my logic there, but I mean Penrith had a pretty good start, so maybe this is here.
Now for the surprise packet, I did have the Bulldogs. This was before the whole
yeah, of course I picked the Bulldogs there.
Bulldogs incident sort of happened with the school kid stuff, the Ockenbaugh, Harry O'Neill stuff. Going into this game that's on tonight, the game against the Eels, I was fairly confident, and then that whole incident happened, and I'm going, oh shit. just looking at previous seasons when, you know,
So I'm talking about that game. Obviously, the Bulldogs end up losing it. Also, Joe Stimson was supposed to come in and slot in for Harry Renara, essentially, now that the sacking happened. He's going to be out for the rest of the season, so I'm not liking this surprise packet. Maybe it's surprising me how bad they're actually going to be. Who knows?
Dragons haven't handled things pretty well since their sort of incidents, and you know, other teams who have been in similar predicaments, they sort of tend to turn to shit throughout the season.
And my camera died, so that's why I had the bloody logo there, in case you're wondering.
And so the Bulldogs already don't have that great of a
The blue
side.
does look really nice
I was
there.
banking on them to sort of band together, defend well, and sort of grind out victories, but I don't know if there's some disharmony over the Ockham.
So, Bulldogs, I think, have definitely shown they're capable of doing that. They're capable of grinding out victories. Obviously, they just haven't actually got the victory, but they have played a pretty good defense. They've they're those effort teams. So I feel like as long as the effort's there, they're actually going to win quite a few games. Because I feel like they're a team that's not based on skill, based on effort, and I think that's always going to be there from most of these players. So I think that's a good sign for the Bulldogs, but yeah, I don't think they're going to make the 8. I don't think they'll get anywhere near close to it. So what else are they got to say?
Harry and Iron stuff. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe it's going to kill the spirit of the Bulldogs, but
there we
I
go.
did have
Camera
them as
died.
my surprise packet in terms of being able to get a few upsets just based off the end of last season. But I mean, I did do this last week, and I'm not so confident in that right now. But I'm just going to stick solid with them. I can't think of any other team who's going to be a super big surprise packet. So let's just go with the Bulldogs.
I suppose now we've seen a few teams who have been a bit of a surprise. I mean, even Penrith I was talking about, they've been quite good. Broncos definitely surprising me. So yeah, I was saying I couldn't think of any at the time. I can think of quite a few right now who could surprise us by the end of the season. So yeah, I suppose Bulldogs started the season, I didn't know things are going to be as bad as what they were. But Kieran Foran's back. Maybe he's going to save them. Probably not. Let's continue.
So now we move on to the wooden spoon, and this one, it's always controversial. There's always people in the comment section below who come back in like a year's time and go, "Huh, can't believe you didn't pick the Bulldogs," or "I can't believe you didn't pick the Titans." They'll probably do it after tonight's game. Bulldogs probably get towed up by the Eels, and then they'll come in and go, "Can't believe you didn't pick the Bulldogs."
That is so true. I'm actually spot on there. Thankfully, Bulldogs didn't get towed up, so there haven't been people coming back to the video. But every year, always people come back and say, "Oh, well, I can't believe you picked bloody Titans to get the wooden spoon. Ha! Look at them, they won the first game." And then you look at the end of the season, and they end up down the bottom, and it's not too bad of a prediction. But continue.
But as you can tell by the way I'm talking, I haven't picked the Bulldogs. I've picked the New Zealand Warriors actually. Now every year I think the
Would still pick him right now, to be honest.
Warriors, they somehow escape it. I'm not even going to say they get close to getting the wooden spoon. A lot of times they're quite ahead of it. But I just look at their side this year, and I just look at it and I go, it's not great, is it?
And it's only gotten worse since the season started. A few more injuries. Obviously, the whole COVID thing. They're going to be stuck in Australia. No going back. Injuries. I think they've been given an allowance to sign players, but probably just fringe sort of players. So I can't see this being a good season for Warriors.
I mean, Sean Johnson's carried them in the past. Tuivasa-Sheck's carried them in the past. I think Tuivasa-Sheck's injured for the first part of the season, I think. It could be. Well, anyways, if an injury
Can't remember if he played or
I
not.
think they really don't have much. They went and signed Nicarima last year. They've given him a pretty big contract for him to now come off the bench, essentially what he was going to do at the Broncos.
Still find that hilarious. Nicarima kicked up a fuss about the Broncos benching him, and then he goes to the Warriors and gets benched immediately. I don't understand that signing from the Warriors, giving him big money, and yeah, that's just a big problem for the Warriors. They seem to do that time after time.
Harris DeVita, I think it was clear to like everybody except the Warriors that he was the future of their halves, and they're finally giving him a go. But yeah, Nicarima's on there. There's going to be a bit of disharmony. Hook position's not exactly the strongest point for them either. Yeah, I don't know. The Warriors, they're a team that they've never won the wooden spoon. I'm not sure how they haven't yet. Is this going to be the year? Who knows?
That's so brutal.
There's a lot of teams I can look at and say, yeah, they don't look great. Titans are one. Tigers, I look at their side, and I think the Tigers team looks very good at all. I think theirs looks pretty poor.
Bulldogs,
they got
Dragons.
The Bulldogs, obviously, I talked about their off-field stuff as well as the team just on-field doesn't look fantastic either. But I've just gone with the Warriors for the time being. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, so pretty much everything I said about the Warriors is true. In fact, I think it's only gotten worse since I recorded the video. So I feel like if you're going to put money on a team to win the wooden spoon, it'd probably be the Warriors. Seen a few people saying, "Oh, what if they were able to win a premiership? What a miracle that'd be!" Yeah, damn right it'd be a miracle. I wouldn't be surprised if Warriors didn't even win a game this year. Their squad just isn't great. I mean, surely that they will win a couple of games here and there. but I really think they're going to struggle, and they're still my favourite for the wooden spoon. So pretty on the money with that one. And now guys, those are all my predictions for the 2020 season pre-COVID. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I'm going to be going over my new predictions post-COVID, post restart, a 20 game season or 20 game regular season. So a little bit different to this one, but hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Also make sure to give me a follow on social media. It's MrLuke YT. It's on the screen right now. My Facebook page is also in the description below as well. Just search up MrLuke, should come up. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.